Hey friends, so welcome back to the Guitar Max channel. So last year, the Trump guitars were released. For $11,500, you can get your very own Trump guitar autographed by President Donald Trump himself. Now, when these came out, obviously there was a lot of controversy around them, and people started asking all kinds of questions. Are these guitars any good? Where are the guitars made? Are they made in the USA? And should a president even be selling merch like this? Some people were even skeptical that the people that ordered the guitars would get anything at all. Well, eventually the guitars did show up, and I was able to borrow one and answer a lot of the burning questions that people had. At this point, the only question that is still left unanswered is the manufacturer. Like, where really are these guitars made? Because the company that sells the guitars, they've always been very vague about the manufacturing, and they'll say things like, oh, these guitars are made from components from a variety of sources, things like that. The guitar that I got to borrow, after examining it, I thought that it was probably made in India, because at least I could confirm that some of the components were made in India. And at the same time, a lot of less expensive guitars are made in India, so it kind of made sense. But now the big news is that an accidental bombshell has been dropped, and we can say with confidence that these guitars are made in China. Okay, now I'm going to go over all the details here, and I'm going to show you the video footage that, like I said, accidentally exposes all of this. We'll get into that in a second, but two real quick things here. Number one is, guys, I am not talking about Donald Trump as a president or as a person. I'm not talking about politics in this video. I'm just talking about the guitars and guitar manufacturing. I'm purely talking about guitars. So you're always welcome to do political arguments down in the comments section below, but I'm not talking about in this video. We're just talking about the guitars here. The other thing is, of course, guys, if you enjoy videos like this, staying up on all the latest news in the guitar universe and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, guys, so now let's get into the details here. What really happened? Well, first, I have to give credit to one of the viewers, an eagle-eyed viewer of the channel, this guy, Evans Music 2009, who in the comment section keyed me on to this new video that had come out. And let me play this video clip first, and then we'll talk about it. Take a look at this.
不用仪器，完全就凭耳朵能够听出来这个吉他有什么问题。美国总统特朗普用过我们造的吉他。去年不是参加大选嘛？他有一支乐队的全美给他拉票，拉票过后就专门找我们给他定制这个吉他。他成功了过后，现在我们这个吉他在美国的那个卖，我们定价是$10,000一支。一下子给我们下了12000支的那个订单。
Whoops! Uh-oh. I don't think he was supposed to say that publicly. Okay, so that video is a short documentary made in China about Chinese guitar manufacturing. And in there, the owner of one of the companies, he's kind of bragging about the fact that they made these Trump guitars. And he says a lot in a short amount of time, and it's all subtitled and everything there. But just to go over what he says there, the key things that's really important here is he says, first, there was a band that was contributing to Donald Trump's campaign. Now, he's talking about Lee Greenwood, right? Lee Greenwood, God bless the USA, right? And he says they made a custom guitar for Lee Greenwood, and then that led to the Trump guitars. And I did a little digging here, and this all lines up, because if you search around, you can find this image on the Facebook page for 16 Creative, which is Lee Greenwood's production company. And look at this. It's an acoustic guitar with the flag. It says God bless the USA on it. It's got pictures of Trump and Lee Greenwood there. And the key thing here is that this came out in July of last year, about 5 to 6 months before the Trump guitars came out. And look at that guitar. If we go over to the Trump Guitars website, it's the exact same guitar, but the fact that we see that guitar 6 months before the Trump guitars came out on Lee Greenwood's page there, that tracks and that kind of backs up what the Chinese guy is saying in the video. Now, Lee Greenwood performed at the Republican National Convention, and again, this is all leading up to the election and everything. And I looked at that footage. I mean, it's pretty crazy footage. Hulk Hogan comes out.
Enough was enough, and I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother.
But when Lee Greenwood performs, he's not using one of those guitars, and I couldn't actually see one of those guitars anywhere in the performance. Now, there's one other thing in that video clip from the Chinese guitar manufacturing documentary. There's one other thing there that is very suspicious, and that is right at the end there, he says that they got a guitar order for 12,000 guitars. Now, this could be something about the way they edited the documentary, because this is kind of tagged on to the end of that scene where he's talking about the Trump guitars. So is he saying that the Trump guitars order was for 12,000 units, for 12,000 guitars, 12,000 Trump guitars? If that's the case, that does not line up at all with what the Trump Guitars website says, because everything on there is like limited edition. And, I think there's only like 1,200 or 1,300 guitars total, including the autographed ones that are available. So if that's what the guy was really saying in the video, then there's a huge discrepancy there. There's a 10 times discrepancy. That being said, that could have been just something weird about the documentary, the way the documentary edited it, or maybe he was saying like, well, we did a 12,000 guitar order for this company. Some of those guitars were the Trump guitars and some of them were for something else. So there's ways you could explain it or see it as confusion, something like that. But it's still a little bit suspicious. Okay, guys, look, I gotta say, I am surprised by this news here, because when I played the guitar, right, it played and felt like a pretty average, budget-friendly guitar. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't fantastic either. But I still didn't think it was going to be made in China. I was originally speculating about like South Korea, and then when I actually got the guitar and looked at it, I thought it was made in India. But I was never able to really nail it down. But I think now, because of this footage and the way the guy is talking about it, I mean, he's showing the photos in there and everything, and it lines up with other things we see on the internet, I think we can say with confidence now that these guitars, the Trump guitars, are made in China. Okay, so now let me ask you guys, are you surprised? Or did you think that the guitars were made in China all along? Let me know down in the comment section, and feel free to argue amongst yourselves over all of the political details down there as well. But guys, look, I'm gonna have links to everything I was talking about down in the video description below. If you want to check out that video and all of these sources and everything, I'm going to have that down in the video description. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you soon.